Hi guys, you're watching The Morning Score, your top of day fix for professional and for college sports and for gaming. We are here live at the Rivalry Sports Bar in Miracle Mile in the Mid-Wilshire District in Los Angeles, California. If you're visiting, if you are a local, please come here to watch your favorite sporting events, grab some lunch, grab some drinks. This is the place you want to be. Now, on a more somber note, the biggest news coming out of this weekend after the Super Bowl and the 1-yard interception is probably the Johnny Manziel entering rehab news. Now, granted, his camp hasn't specified exactly for what he's being treated, whether it's substance or alcohol abuse or mental or emotional problems. The first thing we want to say is that on behalf of the Morning Score team, we applaud him for going into rehab, recognizing that he has issues and a problem, and for trying to correct those at such a young age. However, Johnny Manziel, for many years, or for as long as he's been a college quarterback and of course an NFL quarterback, has been such a polarizing figure. And entering rehab will definitely have some kind of effect on his NFL career and future. So our discussion today is, how do you guys think this will affect his future as a player? Will it affect his future as a player adversely, or will this maybe up his stock as making him more of a responsible figurehead in the league?
I personally think that Johnny Manziel, this is a great thing for him. It's showing that he's grown up a little bit. I personally have never been a believer in Johnny Manziel as a football player. Mm-hmm. As a man, whatever. The guy was a college kid. He's in his young 20s. He's making a ton of money. The people around him, he's going to have some fun. Let him have some fun. Goes back to what we were talking about with Twitter and Facebook. You know, we all did. I know I did a lot of stupid stuff. I wasn't a Heisman quarterback, but when I was growing up, I didn't have Twitter and Facebook. So unfortunately, he does, and he needs to know that he's under the microscope for this. But as a man, I'm glad he's in rehab. As a player, I'm just not a believer. I think he's going to be another stud college quarterback that's going to be a backup at best in the NFL, maybe a couple years. I don't see it.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Steph and I are on the same page. His head is this big, and it has been for so long. And whether you have Twitter or not, whether this was like 20 years ago or now, like, come on, man. You were born with such a great talent, and sometimes you just have to, I'm glad you're in rehab, but like, it's like, come on. Like, his rookie season was a mess, and I don't think that he has a career.
Ooh, I'm gonna go kind of left on this. I think that the whole thing, yes, I'll put it out there. Like, I agree, if people need help, they should get help, and all that said and done. But he actually entered rehab last Wednesday. Yeah. So for them to come out the day after the Super Bowl with this news, to take the steam away, to be included in press in one of the most talked about days for football, I think is bullshit. Yeah. Like, you don't, number one, why are they telling us he's in rehab? Just, it's off season. Go take care of your problem and come back to us, because they want the story. They want the
And they're
press.
trying to build his reputation.
And he's some rookie that's trying to hang with the vets and trying to party with the vets, and he can't hang. Right. And he can't. He doesn't have like a lot of, and I know that a lot of guys party. Like, you look at someone like Gronkowski, you know, like he parties, but he gets on the field and he takes care of his business. You can't go do that. Johnny Manziel comes from money. I'm sure there's lots of deep-seated problems in this guy. So to come out and be that cocky, and then your football doesn't follow up your cocky attitude, then to be in rehab, like, and again, I wish him the best as a person, but as a career and as someone that I have to read about in the media, I'm kind of over him.
I am 100%.
And I don't think he's, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to wind up, and they're complete opposite spectrums, but he's going to wind up like a Tim Tebow. That's doing some sports radio talk show.
He's done. He's done with the
I don't even know if he's going to have a Tim Tebow career.
Maybe not, but what I'm saying is someone like Tim Tebow, who had all this clout, he's going to be all this, he's winning games, and then you give him to one team, you give him to another team, he doesn't do anything, and then he goes back to the D-League. Yeah, and it's like some guys can be awesome in college, but can't hang. You have to be mentally stable. You have to have that discipline. He doesn't have that discipline. He doesn't have that put the game first. It's put him first and his freaking money first.
See,
and
this is what happens.
It's such a backfire, and I don't really feel that bad for him.
Right. Well, aside from Johnny Manziel's off-field issues, let's give him some credit for being a stud at Texas A&M. Now, my Twitter followers out there can attest to this. I have been saying that Johnny Manziel is underimpresses me. I've been saying that for a while because I feel like Tim Tebow, again, not the same kind of player, but Tim Tebow and Johnny Manziel, I feel like those offenses at Florida and at A&M were both built to suit their strengths. And oftentimes college coaches build a system around their star so that that player can be productive and get wins for that team. And I feel like with Johnny Manziel's size and height, that Sumlin and those offensive coordinators, that team, really just played to his strengths. So he never really learned how to be an NFL quarterback, which is why I think he will struggle, having success in the league, and because he's small. Let's just note that he was the first freshman in NCAA history to pass for 3,000 yards, and of course he won the Heisman in his 2012 standout season. Johnny Manziel comes from money, but so does Andrew Luck. And Andrew Luck has made his mark, an indelible mark on the NFL and the Colts organization. Now, granted, they're completely two different players with two different skill sets. People are trying to give Johnny Manziel the affluent pass and say, oh, he doesn't know any better because he's always had this, he hasn't been taught responsibility. You know what? Andrew Luck has had the same kind of silver spoon upbringing that Johnny Manziel has.
And it's all about decisions. Like, I was listening
to
NFL Network the other morning, and they were talking about decisions. It's like, if you're someone that might have you have to decide to go out to have that drink and party before going to the gym and working out. Like, you have to make those decisions. And I understand, I heard that, and I could be totally wrong, but I heard that it had to do with his drinking.
I heard the same.
I heard that what happened was, they were going to travel for a trip, and he didn't show up to the locker room. So they sent two guys from the Browns over to his house to find him pretty much still drunk from the night before.
Well, and
so, with that said, and I get that alcoholism is a real thing. There are a lot of people that suffer in it, and I don't maybe understand it.
We're at a bar right now.
Right, but what I'm saying is, with that, you have to have a support group. But you have to have a support group around you. You have to have people. You have to make those decisions to put yourself, your health, and your sport first.
Well, and I'll just say this. Working for IndyCar, I was in Indianapolis for the Indy 500 last year. I was at a bar, and there's Andrew Luck partying his brains out. But and that's, why not? Once again, he's an NFL quarterback. He's young. Have some freaking fun. But you know what he's not doing? He's not tweeting pictures. He's not Facebooking. He's not Instagramming, Snapchat, Tumblr. He's not showing off that he's doing all this stuff. Obviously, some fans can get in there, but he was also kind of roped off in his own little area with some of his linemen and stuff like that. And I'm not going to say any players because I don't know exactly who they were. I could give you ideas, but I don't know, so I don't want to say anything. But it's like, nobody heard about this.
Yeah.
And it's like, good for him.
Now they did.
Well, yeah. But he also had a great season.
Exclusive.
And he shows up to practice, and he does his work, and he wins. And his dad, see, the thing is, and I don't know about Manziel's dad, but I know Andrew Luck's dad was like a total goody two-shoes.
Yeah.
So his upbringing was good.
Yeah.
So it kind of set him up for
Every
the success.
article I read on Johnny, and again, yes, Johnny, good for you for going, to rehab. But every article I read was treating Johnny like he was a god. He didn't need anyone to tell him to go to rehab. He raised his hand and voluntarily went. I don't this is the type of world we're creating for Johnny. We can back talk other players all we want, talk about them, but yet when it comes to Johnny Manziel, we're treating him like this God's gift to the world. And it's just this is the kind of reaction that we don't that he doesn't need. I don't know.
He doesn't deserve.
I agree with
He
that.
doesn't deserve this much airtime. He hasn't done anything to deserve it.
Yeah.
Right.
One of my favorite
Moving on.
artists or authors, Maya Angelou, has always said, or said before she passed, of course, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And Johnny Manziel has shown us over and over and over again from the time he was in high school. He got into some trouble with alcohol in high school, and his parents, I think, made him go to a rehab program. He got into some trouble his freshman year at A&M, where he got into a fight outside of a bar, and they discovered he was drunk after he got arrested. So these have been deep-seated issues that have continually come up in his career. Now, to say that, just because he has a substance abuse problem, should he not be able to be an NFL player? No. But I think what happens with the NFL, you have these young quarterbacks coming out of high school, college, and they are given this world, and they're supposed to be these leaders and these starting QBs, when, of course, it doesn't work this way. But I think it would be more ideal to have people like Johnny Manziel coming out and sitting behind a Tom Brady or a Big Ben or a Russell Wilson
Yeah.
for a year or two before you actually are given those reins to be the leader. Again, I know NFL teams need quarterbacks here and now. It's a here now, do it now, solve the problem
But
now
then
kind
bring
of
it back
world.
to the coaches, bring it back to the entire team as a whole, because everyone always says it takes a village.
Yeah.
So be for each other, you know?
Well, I think it all comes down to Johnny Manziel went to the worst place possible
That's
for the
true.
NFL,
Yeah.
was Cleveland.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
it's so damn boring.
So boring.
Look at he and Josh Gordon are trying to find some ways to entertain themselves in Cleveland.
Let me get a drink.
Little drink, little puff puff, boom.
Boom.
All
right.
season.
All right. Any more Johnny Manziel thoughts? All right.
No.
All right, Johnny Manziel, get well soon. Ooh, as I fall on my face. Get well soon,
She's
Johnny
drunk.
Manziel. Yeah, drunk off of coffee. And stick around for our next segment where we talk about our top 5